This is Lon Winters with Graphic Elephants.
This is Jimmy Lamp.
This is Matt Vassallo with the RhinstoneWorld.com.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
And you are listening to the Two Regular Guys podcast.
Hosted by...
My name is Terry Combs, RG, regular guy.
And Aaron Montgomery.
We're just regular guys having fun and trying to make a living in this really cool and exciting industry.
I think we all want to succeed 100% of the time.
Seek to understand before I try and make myself understood.
Bring a ton of great information.
Coming to you live from somewhere dark, dirty, and dank.
All right. Well, welcome to the show. It is Friday, October 21st, 2022. I'm Terry Combs. You can find me at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me over at oursuccessgroup.com. Today, as you can tell, we've got a special guest here with us. We are in what I've been calling the fishbowl here. It
is much like a fishbowl.
Yes, definitely so. So Ford Bowers, CEO of Printing United Alliance, correct? Okay, excellent. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. I should be thanking you for being here. This is great.
Good.
Yeah, first of all, we want to thank you for having the Two Regular Guys at the media dinner last night. It was fabulous.
Wasn't that good?
It
was really good. Family
incredible.
style at Giada's. I mean, what could get better than that? That's
Exactly.
great. Yeah.
So Ford, tell us a little bit about, we're coming down last day of the show here. What are you hearing, from the 30,000 foot view?
So from the 30, well, first of all, everybody seems extremely happy. I think when you do a show, lots of things can go wrong. There are little things here and there, little glitches, that kind of thing. So, and in past years, somebody doesn't get something exactly right, we're going to hear about it and they're going to amplify it. And, it's kind of a mountain molehill kind of situation.
Sure.
This year, probably the same number of things, but everybody's so happy to be back. It just rolls right off their back. Everybody is just so ecstatic to be here that there's no problem that can't be resolved. Everybody has a great attitude. Everybody is just, just really, really been wonderful this year. And it's been a fantastic show. I haven't heard anybody hit really a sour note on this show. So.
Well, we had a little thing called COVID. Some of you might remember that. And so we had a little hiatus from Printing United. So
we did quite a lengthy one. Yes,
a lot of anticipation coming back to the show.
Yeah, a lot of anticipation, and we were concerned because the trade show industry itself was, of course, decimated for 2 years. So and of course we didn't have a show for 2 years, so it's been 3 years in the making. But even this year, the recovery has been slower for most trade shows. But this trade show, on the other hand. And I think this is a testament to the ingenuity of the printing community, the resilience of the printing community, and really the stamina of the printing community. We actually have, an equal number of exhibitors, maybe a few more, a larger presence in terms of the square footage that is here, more equipment. I mean, like 50% more equipment than we had in 2019, and the attendance is still very, very high. So we hit 28,000 just now. So
that's incredible.
So wow. So that's pretty good. And so we're beating industry stats by about 25 to 35% on all three of those metrics.
That's incredible.
And so that we are far and away outpacing a lot of other industries that are still trying to come back. We've actually come back in full force. So yeah, we would love to have the two shows. But between 19 and 22, it feels like we didn't skip a beat.
Yeah.
So now we have the momentum again. So this is good.
Yeah.
Good for the industry.
Around the office for the past year, if we build it, will they come?
There was a lot of that. We were very concerned. Has the way people have bought and assessed their purchasing, has it changed fundamentally? Now, of course, we've been researching this. We've been doing pulse things all year long, and they're basically saying still that 94 or 95% of the printers out there, the people who could consume and buy technology, substrates, materials, software, they're saying trade shows are still the number one way to get an understanding of what the landscape looks like so that they can make the best buying decisions. So there've been a lot of talk about, well, our trade show is going to be dead because of the pandemic, but clearly not. This is still going to be the number one way people really assess at least what it is, the adjacencies they might be looking for, new technologies, things like that. So I think it's this kind of proof of concept going forward for some years to come before we have to worry about that.
Yeah. And we were talking earlier, and Josh brought this up when we had him on the show not too long ago. from an apparel space, right? We're t-shirt guys.
Yep.
Yeah, we're-
Yep.
Our listeners are T-shirt people.
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
yep.
You've got, we're sitting here looking at Sanmar across the way.
Yep.
We talked about Bella and a whole bunch of, so you've got shirt people here too, which has not been a traditional thing for Printing United.
It has not been. We were, as SGIA, we were really known as an equipment show.
Yes.
And we always had a hard time kind of pulling in, a lot of the blanks guys. And so, but this year we hired an entirely new team, really specifically to address the apparel market, because we really see this as the growth in apparel has been phenomenal. So we want to make sure that we service that. And so we actually hired 5 people to service this particular community. And what you see here is a manifestation of that effort, that investment, and the work that they have done over the last year to really bring these folks into the show. Yeah. So it's a much broader representation than would have been in any other show. So hopefully they're having a really good show. So we'll see them again next year. So
that's right. That's right.
Well, for the what I've seen too is that I'm working a booth, so I haven't walked around very much. But the people that are coming to my booth are buying. They're here to buy machines. They're here to buy products. And is that what you're hearing about around the show as well?
Absolutely. We're hearing, I can't say the names, but somebody came up to me and said they sold more the first day than they have done at any other show that they've attended this year, whether it was a 3 or 4 day show. Yeah. And that they generated more leads the first day than any other show. We've got, everything from consumables to multi-million-dollar pieces of equipment being sold. And the other thing too, and I heard this anecdote here, I don't know if you heard it, but we had about 30 people come to the apparel zone for a tour on the first day. And this is the beauty of this show is of the 30 people who came to learn about everything in the zone, how to do, only 3 of them were actually currently apparel decorators.
Oh, wow.
The others were commercial printers, implant printers. People are jumping into apparel right and left. Yeah. So because it's a huge market. So and so that is testament to the fact that having all of this under one roof, you are going to have a lot more people coming into apparel that wouldn't normally go to another show that was strictly apparel. So it's the crossover net new possibilities for the exhibitors are phenomenal here. So hopefully you'll experience that as well.
Yeah, definitely. So,
well, I feel like the fact too that all the people who've entered the industry, no matter what, whether they're garment decorators or what, they haven't had the opportunity to come to a trade show in a couple of years. So this is I don't know if you know yet how many new people to the industry are here, if that's a stat that you have. But
it's a good question. I don't think we ask how many years have you been in the industry, but I would suspect that there are, of the 28,000 or so, there's got to be at least 1,000 or 2,000 that probably have certainly never been to a trade show like this before, and probably haven't had an opportunity to go to, a fully fledged trade show. Yeah. So but it's a good question. I don't know that we asked that, but maybe we should add it to our registration.
Interesting to know.
It would be interesting.
Call that the Terry Combs stat.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean, we had some folks come by that kind of part of the community, the Sassy Subbers, and they had never been to a show like this, right? And I think what's really cool for people like that, the newer folks, is lots of great things to see that kind of on their level, but also get to see what could be next, right? We might have a desktop printer right now, but boy, I could, get one of these larger, we won't name names, but
Well, I mean, it becomes aspirational, doesn't it? So wherever you are, there's another step above you, or maybe even to the left or to the right. You know, just expanding the applications that you serve. Yeah. Your customers are probably buying more than just what you're selling them, right? So what does it make sense to do? And again, that's the secret sauce here is really being able to look at all of those things. What's my next step up? What's my next step to the left or the right? So that's good.
Excellent.
In my screen printing classes, I always talk about trade shows, and I always say you have to go to Printing United. If not every year, you have to go at some point in time, just to see the enormity of the industry and see the worldwide reach of the industry.
It is staggering. We had a group of students from Cal Poly and Clemson, never been to a trade show because in their college life there hasn't been one, right? So this is the first one. And they themselves, even though this is what they study and this is what they're doing, graphics communications, they had no idea how huge this industry was. Right. So the only thing I would say that I would disagree with there is they should come every year. So that's
good
the
point.
I will change my presentation.
Okay, all right, just saying, it's just a gentle, reminder or thought, there. So yeah,
wonderful. All right, well, other than probably sleeping for a couple days straight, right? I know my feet, I've gotten plenty of steps, but let's look out onto the horizon here. You guys are heading to Atlanta next year.
Atlanta, my home state. So
there
I'll
you
get to go visit some folks.
Perfect. So we'll all go to Ford's house, and
that's right. I'll let Mom know.
Okay,
that's right. I'll let Mom know. Yeah.
No, but just kind of give us what's on the horizon here. What are you excited about?
Well, we're excited about just having shows again,
Yeah.
and it seems to be somewhat regular. It's difficult to imagine. I've been proven wrong before that we won't have it, moving forward the same way. But I think what will happen is we have a lot of momentum or mojo, that sort of thing. So I think next year is actually going to be slightly bigger. I think we'll probably get more attendance as word kind of gets out. I mean, social has just been flooded with the results of the show. And so that'll probably trigger even a bigger, better show next year.
Yeah. So,
and of course, Atlanta, not the same kind of city as Vegas, but it's also a city where when people come to Atlanta, they come to buy.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, because not that there's nothing else to do in Atlanta. I love Atlanta. That's where I'm from. But for the most part, it's not the same set of distractions that you might have in Orlando or in Vegas, just to put it mildly. Yeah. And so I do think that, and of course, it's very easy to get in and out of. So I do think it's going to be a really strong show next year.
Awesome.
So, looking forward to that.
Excellent. So, awesome. Well, I believe you probably got to get off to your next appointment here. So we really appreciate you taking some time to chat with us, and this is fun.
Absolutely. Good to have you guys here, and have a wonderful downhill run here today, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. Thanks, Ford.
Okay, bye-bye.
Awesome. All right.
Okay. Thanks, Ford. Wow. What, I mean, as Ford was talking about, right, that excitement that he used to go. That was, pretty cool. So,
and you see it all over the floor. As he was saying, a lot of smiling faces, because you don't know. It's 3 years since the last show, and I was serious. I'm sure they were all thinking, "Hey, is this going to happen? Will people venture out?" I felt like they would, though, because we've been to some shows of late and seen great attendance. I was just in Fort Worth and had 60 people in one of my seminars, and when we're that's really the reason I asked the question about is there how many new people are here, because in my seminar about 80% of the people in that seminar raised their hand that they had never been to a trade show before. And that translates to me is they were all new to the industry in the last couple of years.
All right, well, let's why don't you slide down a little bit. There's the camera. All right. So regulators, let's check in with you guys. We got Cindy King. Good morning. And we did get all up and going. The wonderful gentleman with AV came and I was close, right? You should see the board over here.
Come running back though to make sure that
he did. We
were perfect sound here. Not so much over to Eric.
Yeah. So. Eric didn't get that. Let's see what else we got going here. What did I miss, Eric? We got Chuck earlier on this morning and Yosta. And Chuck, thank you, Eric. Sorry. A little different. And then Ramona, good morning, everyone, catching you all from the streets of Chicago. So, excellent. So, Eric, I don't know if you want to jump in here or not, but love to have you. We've got some other things we want to talk about here this morning. Getting to have Ford on was fantastic.
Absolutely.
Great opportunity to chat with them, but we're here to, what are they talking about, right? What are the things that people are asking? We've kind of tried to compile some things, but Eric, welcome into the show, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you for having me in. Honestly, what I'm going to say is, having watched all the social coming out of there, I'm feeling a whole lot of FOMO out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and wishing I could have gone. Important stuff that had to get done back on the home front, but wow, this show looks incredible, I have to say. I'm really jealous of you guys right now.
Even for you embroidery folks, Eric, right around the corner here, there's a bunch of color reels running, and so I'm trying to give you a FOMO.
You might be able to hear embroidery in the background.
They actually did a pretty good job of isolating the sound. Hey, I'll say this: I'll be glad to hear anything. When we were getting ready, I was just hoping to hear something from the mics.
There you
It's
go.
like I'm going to do a very poor job of giving a synopsis of the show since I'm not there.
But you're here to keep us under control, so we appreciate
Absolutely.
that.
And I can't wait to get more insights from you guys from what you've seen on the floor. It sounds like a lot of things are going down and new people are there, and that's just exciting to see that kind of energy.
Yeah. So Eric, and the other thing too, obviously you've been monitoring the social. I've not had that opportunity. You go from, running around here to, I had 25,000 steps the first day to, a dinner and going networking and all that other stuff. And so I haven't been on social media. So you bring that side. Okay. Sound like a deal?
I'll bring as much as I can. Like I said,
All right.
busy on the home front, but I will say have been seeing lots of people streaming directly, lots of product demo stuff going on, and just seeing all of our friends who we know from kind of our education Fridays that we joke around about, all of our friends with shows out, doing live streaming and showing what's going on. So it's just cool to see people there.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, Terry, let's start here. The first kind of question thing that we wanted to kind of try to gather as we were getting ready for the show is, what are the attendees shopping for this year?
Well, and I'm in the equipment zone booth, so that's a little bit of my perspective. But we have a direct to film machine in our booth. Well, of course, we have our sublimation, we have our three direct to garment printers. But gosh, so many people have walked into the booth saying, "I came here specifically to see DTF."
Yeah,
and I think that we anticipated that, all of us, and it's a lot of folks walking around saying, how's yours different than all the other ones, so but I think that, well, and that, when Ford was talking about, people need to come to a show, and that's what they say, I have to come to the show and touch and feel that, especially that process, because it's brand new. It came about during COVID, so people haven't had a chance to see the process happening and to feel different garments and to get a better grasp, but other than ordering some transfers from our friends at Fat Dad and and applying them yourself.
Yeah. I think DTF is definitely as far as the apparel folks. Yeah, you can't go a booth away and not see a different machine or different process. They're doing a lot of it over here. So you've seen a lot of that, but you go back towards the future states back there. You've got plenty of screen printing. You got M&R up there, plenty of screen printing.
M&R in a massive booth.
Yep. And Brothers got their new big huge production machine here. Epson's got theirs. We're seeing a whole bunch of stuff. I actually had an opportunity to sit in on the news conference. For some reason, I want to say press conference. Same thing, maybe. I don't know.
I think press conference.
Press conference.
We did go to the press dinner last night.
That's right.
I think
Yep. So press conference for Cornette the other day, and that was pretty cool. Chromolux and Helios Inks came out with a kind of partnership to where they're doing outdoor signage with sublimation, like 10+ year outdoor signage. So
wow,
that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, not the it's going to last for a year and then you come replace it. They can go real high end with the Chromolux product, and then that ink can have a lot less fading over time. Which
did they test that in Phoenix, Arizona?
Probably
they should.
They should. So yeah, regulators, what is it that we'll tell you whatever we can.
but
so let us know.
Let me tell you kind of a fun thing that Jay Bassell, again, I don't want to hawk equipment zone, but it's kind of a cool thing that he's done. He has about a 10-foot by 10-foot wall of fabric, and it has bricks painted or bricks printed on it, and he has stencils and he has spray paints, and people are going back there tagging the wall, and it's a lot of fun. You can put your stencil up there. The apparelist folks had their stencil, and they're all back there, and everybody's. It's really a lot of fun because once people come down that aisle, they come over and spray paint, and everybody's doing videos and posting on social media, and it's kind of a cool thing, and appreciate Jay manning that, and I think he's having. It's like a little kid over there. He's having a lot of fun. doing that process. So hey, if you're here at the show, coming back to C7336 and paint your name on the wall.
Yeah. Because Terry, you've been busy. You've not really been able to get out of the booth. Fortunately for me, I haven't been tied to it. I've been running back and forth all over the place. So yeah, it is an interesting, just kind of seeing what's going on. And yeah, so we can talk more about that. But and then I guess Terry, real quick, would you just change out mics real quick? Just see that one turn off too first. Yeah, Eric, Terry was a little bit quiet, right? Yeah.
No, you're fine.
Oh, it was okay. All right.
Am I still fine?
No, yeah, you guys sound great. No,
Okay.
honestly, I'm going to say they must have done a good job because usually when we do stuff live from the floor, despite the fact that we had trouble getting started up, the sound's not awesome, and everybody can at least hear what you're doing.
Well,
So
Prinny
it's
and I
cool.
did a really nice job. I mean, they came in here, and we'll send some pictures of inside the fish bowl here, but it's
basically a glass studio that
well done. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody I've seen on social, the people who have been in the fishbowl, as you call it, it seems like it's been just a really kind of friendly space for people to do broadcasting. And it seems like Printing United has taken seriously that people want to do this kind of content, and there are people following this content. And I think that's great. I mean, I remember previous years where you'd run around the show floor and there was kind of dirty looks because someone was streaming or had a camera or something else. It's like, you're not supposed to be taking pictures on the show floor. I'm like, you couldn't stop that now. And then to see it kind of being taken seriously. I mean, it's much better. So I think that's cool, and I'm kind of glad to see that that's happened. Like I said, major FOMO from this side of the screen.
So before we get into some of our other questions here too, I've been in here several times and just doing capturing of audio. This is the first time we kind of went this far. We were pushing it. I was up in the middle of the night last night going, is this going to work? And fortunately, the AV guy got it to work. But my point is, we're going to actually drop a special podcast only episode just as soon as I can get it edited. So probably within the next couple of weeks. So we obviously want you guys to keep showing up here on the live stream and being a part of that. But if you've not checked out the podcast versions of things, make sure you're subscribed. Go to regularguys.com and subscribe, because there will be a podcast only episode dropping here in the next couple of weeks of all of the things that I was able to capture and talk to folks. Yesterday, I had an opportunity to talk to Josh and then the folks from US Vets. And one of the cool things that's happening here behind us in the apparel zone is they've got basically a whole factory set up to do everything from software to the finished goods. There's people sewing just on the other side of us over here. And what they did is they brought in this organization, US Vets, which is a really cool organization that helps end homelessness for veterans. And one of the ways that they generate funds to be able to do that is they sell merch. And they've got a campaign that they're doing with a camo. And we were able to talk to them about it. And what's being made back there, all the stuff, the products that are being made back on the floor, that's all getting donated to US Vets.
Oh, that's tremendous.
And then they can turn that into additional resources to be able to help, again, get our veterans off the streets.
What a great concept. I had no idea that was happening. But again, this is the furthest I've been from my booth in 5 days, actually.
Yeah, I can feel it. You're like a little antsy. It's like, you got to get back to the booth. There's buyers over there. All right. Well, let's see. I just want to make sure that we're getting the regulators too, Eric. We're good. Okay. What's the next question? What new or unexpected items are you finding out there? Again, I know you've been pretty tied to the booth, so I know you got a couple things. I'll share a couple of other things as well.
Yeah, and part of this came to me actually. The one thing is Epson introduced a 42-inch. It's going to be the replacement for their 42-inch sublimation printer, but it's going to have the addition of orange and green or fluorescent colors. So the orange and green for photographers, the fluorescent colors for the fashion industry. And I think it's interesting and a great idea, because right now, at least at Epson, the option there is a $25,000 sublimation printer, and all of a sudden they've introduced a bit smaller, about about 24 inches smaller, but with all those great tonal values of color. And so I thought that was a really interesting thing. Now, they've introduced it, but not available till the first quarter of 2023. But I found that interesting.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you also have on the list here and I actually did get a chance to go over to Brian's booth and see it. We did a little bit of a live stream actually from there yesterday, but RTP Apparel's got that 100% poly shirt that doesn't dye migrate, a red shirt. So he had a regular one that you get the white ink and it's pink, right? I think as decorators, if you've ever decorated a red shirt, dye migration's a thing, right? And the product was really cool, and it's made for direct to garment, but it also could be screen printed on.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's incredible. And they cured some things at 500 degrees just to show that there's no dye migration. And the samples that Brian's showing are incredible. I know he's been going around to a lot of vendors, leaving little stacks of them so that so they can do some testing. But they also have a new pre-treat that has come out for DTG, which well, a lot of buzz about that as well. I know they introduced it about a month ago, but a lot of interest in that, and it looks to be a pretty exciting product. So you love to see a company like Image Armor / RTP Apparel innovating. And I think during the last couple of years there was a little bit of sitting on the hands. And so people are trying some new things, introducing some new things. And I think that's part of the excitement of the show as well.
Yeah, agreed. Yost asks, have you seen any new pre-treat units? I was just trying to think about that.
I don't know that, and I certainly haven't walked around much, but I also would probably have heard from people about a new unit. So I don't believe so. I don't think I've seen anything.
I've not either. And as much as I've walked around, I'm not sure I've actually seen everything. That's how big it is. We've got the whole floor and another hall.
Yeah,
I just barely walked through the other hall, so that'll be my afternoon.
It's and I've obviously been working at previously the SGIA, now Printing United, for many years, and for any veteran decorators out there, this is like the old days. Lots of buzz, lots of activity, lots and lots of people. It's pretty exciting to see, and hopefully it's going to be rolling into 2023 for all the other shows as well.
Yeah, I agreed. Trying to think what else would have been new and unexpected. I brought up the brother. That very interesting. For Terry and I, going way back in our old days, we were involved with a machine with a similar concept, and so it's kind of fun to see that kind of coming back around. I talked to Hawkeye for a little bit, and folks of her brother are very proud of that machine. I think they think it'll be good. And
you and I both talked to Scott Fresner yesterday. Scott Fresner was the inventor of I don't remember, something Pro. Is a big, massive direct-to-garment printer. Gosh, 10 years ago. More at SGIA, and it's a very similar concept. So when we talked to him yesterday, and Scott's semi-retired, but we were laughing about the fact that, hey, all those years ago, you were right. It's working. It's a great concept.
We talked about Rugs. What's up, man? Good to see you.
People peering in the fishbowl.
Still nobody's thrown chicken wings over the top yet,
what's up with that?
All right. So the DTF. Sorry, I got off track. Shiny object, right? DTF has been, again, the talk of the show for sure, I'd say, hands down. I got to talk to Grant French, who's with Kodak. Grant's been
old friend of ours from other
DuPont, right? Before
from DuPont, right? And when we were in different previous worlds.
Yep, exactly. And they're making a big push into the DTF side of things. And I was talking to him about it, right? And we were going back to the old days, and he said it kind of reminds us of the 2004 era. Well, you and I have talked about that before, but he said, but the things we know now, we can accelerate that learning.
Exactly right.
And so I think that's why you've seen such an explosion in it. And
well, you know, Aaron, I had that same conversation with someone yesterday that yes, DTF is brand new, but it's brand new for people who've already lived the inkjet life of decorating garments.
Yeah.
So it just like Grant said, it's vastly accelerated because we've already come over a lot of the pitfalls.
Yeah.
So
agreed. Let's see what else new. Kornit has got a new machine coming out called the Apollo, and interestingly enough, the CEO in their press conference was talking about the fact that he's looking to go take on screen printing with a digital product, right? The short run, the 25 to 500 piece kind of, which, you know, interesting, right? I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
I actually got to talk to Andy McDonald last night when we were sitting there. By the way, speaking of that, really great awards ceremony last night for the women in, I think it was women in white format, and then the women in garment decorating awards. Right. Adrian and her team from Screen Printing over did a fantastic job, and they had a great award ceremony last night. And I was sitting next to Andy, and so before it got started, he and I were talking, and you know, Andy's a screen print guy, right? and screen print will never die, right? So
exactly right.
We're going to have him on the show pretty soon, and you guys can just talk about how
we can just talk about screen printing for Aaron or Eric. We're going to go over that day. I'll just tell you now.
Yeah,
no problem. We knew the printers would be a big deal. It's always a big deal of printing. I know. I'm just like, so what embroidery things did you see?
Let's see here.
Well, but I know color reel. I know is the big one.
There's some color reels over here.
The adoption of color reel, and I'm going to say on social, people have been talking about it a lot because we've seen. And I'll go ahead and come back up into the fold here for a second. I've seen people talking about the color reel just being present, and honestly, we're seeing more people take it up. And Madeira just recently started offering their own color reel thread, so a thread specific for the color reel or shown with color reel. So just to say, in the embroidery world, there are still people talking about stuff. I haven't seen as much as in print, but yeah, even from over here in embroidery land, I will say DTF is still what's being talked about for the show. But at the same time, seeing color reel quite a lot. So it was kind of interesting to hear you mention it specifically that they're off running units, because a lot of people see that as kind of the new flash and flare for what's happening with stitches.
Yeah. Yosta just asked, what's that with Mamaki sub inks, new or old? No, yeah. So I think maybe Yosta saw yesterday, and I may pronounce his name wrong, so I apologize. Danish from Silky Socks was actually over there in the Mamaki booth pressing some socks as a demonstration, and I actually live streamed that to the Two Regular Guys page, and they had a fluorescence, and so they've got a 55-inch printer with sublimation inks that fluorescence, light colors, and stuff like that. So that it was pretty cool. The thing about sublimation, obviously, with CMYK, you get a long range, but yeah, some of those other things. So, like you talked about with the new Epson printer, and Mamaki's been doing that for some time, actually. So they got a pretty cool booth set up over there. The other thing, and not necessarily new here at the show, but there's certainly a lot of buzz around it, is the folks over at Caesar and their new cutters, and they've got a DTV, direct to vinyl, which I actually am going to go over and check out a little bit more later on. I thought that regular inkjet printer, and supposedly, so
interesting.
We'll go put it through its test here.
Side note, I was following them as they were in my hotel, and they were as they were leaving, one of their suitcases had a very large vinyl cutout that said "Hail Caesar." Aaron, another thing that I've noticed, and this is from days gone past, lots of booths having events where they'll have influencers talking, or different people doing presentations, and not necessarily people from that company, but end users coming in and talking about how they use this product. And so lots of presentations, lots of stages set up in some of the larger booths.
Yeah. The folks back here at OvalJet come a couple of times where I've been in here capturing and doing stuff. They're doing a demonstration at the same time. I talked to Josh from Stalls. They've got a whole setup over there. Like I said, influencers coming in. So it is pretty cool to kind of see how, right, we love to be back, but I think everything that we learned about not being able to have shows is kind of hybrid together to make it even a better experience. So.
Yeah, and it's for not just the attendees, but a lot of vendors are getting together, and I know we've had several people in our booth talking about partnering on this deal and that deal, and so lots of business taking place between vendors as well.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, not to put too fine a point on it, but who would have thought all this media and streaming would have turned into a thing? I mean, who would have ever got on the bandwagon for this earlier? But no, it's been really cool to see that be like I said earlier. It just seems like people were taking it seriously enough that we were getting kind of high quality streams out of a lot of different places, and I think that's just hasn't always been the case. I think the rise of kind of influencer culture and the mass acceptance of social media is complete now. It's not like it's something we should talk about people coming into it. It just is. Very much in evidence with what's coming out of the show.
Yep. Agreed. So let's see here. Yeah, just trying to think what else is kind of new and exciting or different. So they've got one of the I guess knocks or things that people were kind of trying to throw at Printing United was this year there was not classroom education, right? And talked to a lot of people about that, people that kind of were making those decisions, and they've done. I think they've done a really good job, though, still kind of keeping things, because there is still lots of education. I haven't had crazy enough. They've got that future States Theater back in the back, which is really cool. And have had some good stuff going on back there, but the scheduling of everything didn't work out. So every time I would go over there, there was nowhere to sit. So I was like, okay, well, they needed
that's probably a good thing, I imagine,
seating, right?
A good thing for
like
Printing United.
Jenna Sackett was up there doing a presentation, and they've talked about inclusion, and Jed, who's going to be with us, I think in a couple of weeks,
right?
Talking about what they're doing, with the inclusion and hiring and things like that. So there's still plenty of education here, and I think that it looks different, but it didn't seem real pitchy, right? And I think that was a concern, that when you take it out of the classroom, that then it becomes, I've got to make money, I've got to pitch you for 30 minutes, whatever.
Yeah, and kind of as an aside, the previous shows that I've been attending over the past couple of years, the handful of shows we've had, there's no cloud of COVID over this show. It's not mentioned, and it's almost like turning a corner.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah, just the optimism, all of those things. So, all right, well. Let's keep, and if you guys have more questions, regulators, anybody tuned in or anybody standing out there, just throw a question over. Well, Terry, you again have been in the booth and talking to people from that. You're here to sell. Are they? What kind of people are here?
Well, usually, and of course, they're obviously the smaller decorators are here, but this is really the one show that all the larger decorators attend as well.
Yeah.
So, people coming into my booth are talking about, multiple machines and the larger machines. And of course, obviously everyone's welcome, and the smaller machines and the smaller shop owners certainly have a place here, but you don't see some of the major decorators like at a lot of the shows that we attend normally, but this is where they come. And so I've certainly talked to some very large, very well-known decorators in the industry, and hey, they're just like all of us, they're excited to be back at a show, and all the same questions, just on a larger scale.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. All right. Well, and I think we've done a pretty good job here, so we can kind of start wrapping this up a little bit. But if you guys do have other questions for us, please put them in. Again, just as a reminder for everybody, there will be a special podcast only drop coming here in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, as soon as I get a chance to put them all together, make it something that you'll want to listen to.
I feel like a little bit of a slacker because Aaron's just working, interviewing people, and here I am. I'm working too, but in a different direction, I guess.
Yeah. Kim Johnson, hey guys, good to see you.
Kim, you must have landed. Kim left this morning. She first time she has attended Printing United as well.
Really?
And so,
interesting.
And put many miles behind her.
Yeah.
Now, I have a question, believe it or not. I have a question for you guys, just to kind of bring this out. One of the things that I kind of heard from apparel people is they were worried that apparel wasn't going to have as much primacy there, and they were wondering what would there be for them in the kind of area that wasn't apparel focused. Like, is there something interesting about that broader reach? So what do you guys think about that? Have people been excited to see technologies that are not something they're currently doing, other disciplines? And do you feel like apparel got represented well?
Well, I think so. And, certainly there was a period of time where garment decorators were an afterthought in this part of the industry. But as Ford mentioned, excuse me, 5 new staff members just focused on apparel and product decorating. And you can see it. You can see it's reflected here. And they see the massive growth in garment decorating.
Yeah.
And they want to they want to service our part of the industry as well. And I've been very impressed. Lots of garment vendors, blanks. Not as many as maybe in a Long Beach, actually. But I think that the ones that are here, I've talked to the folks over at Sanmar a couple of times, and they seem incredibly happy about what's happened here, which means 2023 in Atlanta, I'm guessing we're going to see a lot more for the garment and product decoraters that from our side of the industry.
Yeah. I'm certainly putting on my calendar, I got to say, after hearing as much as coming out of this show.
Yeah.
I'm not going to miss Atlanta.
If we're wrong, there's lots of fun stuff to do in Atlanta.
I love it. But yeah.
So the other thing I'll say about that particular thing is, as Ford had mentioned, right, they went out and hired 5 people to kind of build that, right? And
all of the friend of ours from the industry, because it's a small industry.
Yeah,
we all know each other.
Yeah.
Some of our favorite people.
For example, somebody like Josh, right, who's tied in. You've got Cassie and the apparelists, right? And so
right, Lee.
Lee and Sarah and even just recently Allie Bruce is I guess what I'm saying is there's definitely that focus there. The other thing that I found interesting is, as Ford was mentioning, right, there's a lot of like people coming from some of the other spaces, the packaging, the printing, that stuff, and they're looking at apparel. The thing, and maybe it's my perspective, but I'm not seeing it go a whole lot the other way. The apparel decorators, I don't hear a lot of them talking about, I'm going to get into this other thing, right? And so I don't know if that means that the interest is more on the apparel side and the other segment is shrinking. Maybe I don't know that to be true.
And I think you're correct in that that a lot of folks from other parts of the industry are looking at apparel. I've talked to several people said, hey, we've got a very robust business, but we want to add apparel. And some of them just for their own internal use.
Sure.
I talked to someone yesterday that has a company that they do custom car stereos, and people they have a following, and people want to be a part of. People want to identify with their custom car stereos to the point where they're going to start producing their own line of that. Well, they actually do a line of clothing, but they're jobbing it out. But they said, it's become such a big part of their business that they're going to bring it in house and become decorators as well.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, the other thing that I've heard, now this is once again from the outside, from people who are in other methods of printing, the robustness of our digital tool chain is now such that they feel more comfortable. I think with apparel printing, people who are used to digital printing in other fields are now seeing mature DTG and the rise of DTF as an entry point into apparel in a way they haven't before. What's funny for me is that embroidery is still so much of its own animal, and I'm still seeing people who are more willing to get into it. But once again, like you said, people who want to do merch for themselves, that's another thing. People who want to do their own merch, who've decided they want more creative control, and they've decided to bring in some amount of apparel decoration. I'm seeing a lot of that. Not as much the other direction, though I have heard some apparel decorators getting excited about it, especially things like packaging, getting more involved with how they package and how they handle their presentation. And I thought maybe some of that might be interesting to see cross communication, but I haven't heard as much. Kind of like you guys, it seems more like the other side is seeing the recent technology as a way to get into apparel.
Yeah, I did hear about one conflict, and it's a conflict that only people in our industry would have. Is it stickers? Is it a decal? Is it a sticker? Is it a decal?
Could be worse. I heard a fight over.
Is it pop? Is it soda? You know?
Yeah, I heard a fight over just the pronunciation of it, to the point where people were posting videos of their shop and walking around to make everybody pronounce, is it decal or decal? Which I had never heard anybody say ever. So I don't know. I'm like, that is decal for me. We can have that discussion anytime you want. But
well, I will tell you this: everybody from New York calls it a decal. And not very pleased with us calling them stickers.
I can't say anything. I'm in a weird little island in New Mexico where we have language problems other people don't have. Everybody's like, oh, is it pop or soda? I'm like, we call them all Coke. Yeah, you want a Coke? Yeah, what kind? Dr. Pepper. That is a real Albuquerque thing to hear. So no, you can't
not to belabor this, but somebody said,
hilarious.
A sticker is what you put on your trapper keeper. A decal is what an adult uses.
Gotta love it. All right. So
gatekeeping on stickers. All right.
Yeah. So Wendy says, what is the word from suppliers on getting stock back so I don't have to spend hours to fill the order game?
Well, I can only speak about one supplier that I spoke to.
I see Monty right over there. I don't know if he's gonna. We can drag him in or not.
Monty on the spot.
There's a supplier walking by right now, waving, that tells me that they have a huge inventory available right now today. Multiple containers have arrived at their facility, so we probably shouldn't be dropping names.
No, probably not. But have you heard anything on that? The supply chain issues? I haven't heard that come up, but obviously we know that it's still a challenge for decorators to.
I believe it's clearing up, and seriously, that's a supplier that just walked by us told me that they just received 5 containers of T-shirts. And their inventories are really, really filling back up again. I have to think everybody else is going to be in that same position.
Yeah, starting to loosen up a little bit. All right. Well, like I said, Monty from Sanmar just walked by. I was hoping that we could catch him, but
Monty has been on the show. It's been quite a while since Monty's been on.
It has been a little bit. Yeah. And we can see Sanmar directly in front of us. We can start there, but we will ask the questions.
If you guys don't know who are listening in, this is also being broadcast locally, so everybody can hear them doing this. And
everybody can hear you too, Eric.
I know. So I'm going to apologize on behalf of the 2 regular guys. Putting you on the spot.
Right. That's right. Hey, that's what that. Yeah, we're all just trying to continue to grow and make this industry a better place. So we got to tell the truth. We got to figure out what questions we've got and go from there. So
good to hear everybody. Just honestly, it seems like things really are loosening up. And the thing that I like the most about this, over and over, though, people continue to talk about going quote unquote back to normal. This normal isn't the normal we had before, and there are improvements. The education that's happening that is not salesmanship from all of the vendors, the people coming in and talking about stock, people changing their attitude toward how they stock and source. I think we are not just returning to normal and loosening up, we're improving. And I'm kind of really, I'm cheered on by seeing that.
Yep. All right. So I guess to kind of wrap things up here, any blockbusters, any real real shocks or anything?
I don't. Well, again, I haven't and won't have the opportunity to walk around, but I think the blockbuster is the number of vendors. I believe 700 vendors plus, and just the number of attendees here. I believe Ford said 28,000.
28,000 attendees.
That's tremendous, and it's from a bygone year, with that that kind of a show, that kind of attendance. So,
did you say 700 exhibitors?
I believe it was 700.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yep. Ramona asks, I'm really late with the question, is embroidery represented at the show? We talked about that a little bit. It's certainly not represented like you would see at another apparel type show, but we're looking at the fishbowl here. You've got Racoma right over there. Now I'm going to forget all the names, but Melco. So you're definitely seeing some equipment. The color reels are being run here in the apparel zone, right? The decoration that they're doing, they're using the color reels, and so that's kind of interesting. I haven't had a chance to really get up close and look at them yet, but for me, the interesting part was, right, I've been running around a lot, but yesterday was basically press conference, and then back and forth here. So today, my goal is to actually get to booths and see if we can do some live streaming of some of these products and whatnot for you guys. So.
And historically, this is a show where many types of many parts of the industry, this is where they introduce products. They bring in the press, to do demonstrations, things like that. So the show hasn't existed for the last 3 years, so people had to have other apps to make those introductions. So I think everyone's taking full advantage of that.
But I would say this, right, because of where we've come from, as far as COVID and stuff like that, there weren't as many new product releases that were the talk, right? I mean, yes, everybody's got a DTF machine now, right? And so there's some of that stuff that's new, but like you mentioned, traditionally it was get the mock-up, get it to a point where we can at least show it and have the big splash here, and then in Long Beach it's ready for sale, right?
Right,
kind of thing.
right, exactly.
And I haven't seen a whole lot of that. Definitely some new things. Not saying no new things, but and then
I think this is step one.
Yeah. And then I got another question. Actually, got texted to me earlier this morning, and I will I won't share who it is because he could put it on there. But the question was, seeing anything exciting about sublimation or heat transfer? Here's what I would say. The traditional sublimation folks are absent in a lot of ways. But you've got some people that maybe aren't as well known that are here. We had Nikki Ademkowitz. You can say it too, right? Her and her sassy tribe. I think there was 6 or 7.
Right.
Right. They all hung out, sat on the couch, and we had a nice chat the other day. They were talking about some new products and stuff that they saw from Giotto. And I guess, again, I think people have that old idea that it was an old equipment show, but we're definitely seeing a lot more. We're seeing some of the shirt vendors, seeing some of the blanks vendors, but we need to get everybody back to these shows, right?
Yeah, I actually got to meet Nikki because I had met her in person before.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so she came by the booth, and the first words out of her mouth, first words out of her mouth was the 2 regular guy who could always say my name.
Yep, there you go. All right. Well, so that's about it. I think it's time to start wrapping this up here. Terry, real quick, where's what's on the horizon for you?
Where am I going from here? My complete screen printing business class in Chicago at Atlas Screen Supply, November 5th and 6th is sold out. My next event will be Workhorse Products in Phoenix, December 10th and 11th. That class is filling up, and all of my classes so far for 2023 are all up on my website at terrycombs.com. How about you, Aaron?
Got some things coming up, but Eric, just why don't you share what you've got coming up here today, and we'll just close it up.
All right. So today I have the take up as I usually do. So 2:30 Mountain Time, the only time it matters for me at least. That's episode 132, and that's organizing embroidery files and info, as well as some examples in shape building. So in this kind of two-part episode, I'll be answering a viewer question about how to name, store, organize files, and a little bit about kind of business management as far as that goes. So great for people who are doing creative stuff, sure, but a lot better for those of us who are selling and building out workflows. Yeah. The other part of it is shape building. So we talked about shape building last week, as opposed to just drawing what can we do with shapes and graphical operators. And I'm actually going to give some examples from one of my best known pieces on how you can use shape building to easily build embroidery designs.
Awesome.
So that's over at ericcampbell.com. Head over to the top tab and click on the take up, and you'll get a full playlist of all 132 episodes. Wow, that's a fair number of hours of content for something I just started randomly one day.
All right. Hey, how's it going? All right. So we have done it. First foremost, want to thank Ford Bowers for taking some time to join us and having us here at the event. And I also want to make sure we thank Josh and Amanda from Printing United, that they've done a fantastic job with the show and just across the board. So
absolutely, and for allowing us to sit in the fishbowl and broadcast live.
Exactly, giving us some time here. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks to Equipment Zone and for covering for Terry here. Finally getting him into the fishbowl. And
exactly. We also want to thank Eric Campbell, our producer, for and partly for sitting patiently for about 15 minutes as we say, "Can you hear us?"
Adjusting the launch time for the show repeatedly.
Changing all
how we do.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eric. We appreciate all of your help and support, even from New Mexico. He's still making us look good. So thank you, sir.
Take lots of videos for me so I know what's happening.
All right.
So I know what's happening in the outside world.
Yep, exactly. Hey, just go over to the Facebook Two Regular Guys page, Eric. You'll get to see it.
Been tuning in.
Next week we've got Corey, and I'm not even going to try the last name right now until we check it out. But I just blanked. I think it's from Cap America.
Right.
Joining us.
I think it's Sissel. Corey Sissel.
I think you're right. I think you're right. From Cap America. So that'll be a great show. Next week we'll be back to regular scheduled, back in the home offices, so to speak, the studios, and looking forward to that. So
all right.
Good times.
Until then, I'm Terry Combs. He's Aaron Montgomery.
And we are the Two Regular Guys.
Here we go. We're out.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have a YouTube page. You can find all that from our website, tworegularguys.com. Thanks for tuning in, and we look forward to spending some time with you again next week.